Welcome to Community Solar News. I'm Ray, that's Della, and today's rundown is one of those weeks where the numbers do the talking. A farm in Colorado that basically ran an experiment on itself, a state program that finally found its legs after damn near a decade, and a developer that just crossed $2.2 billion in financing. $2.2 billion, Della.
I heard you the first time. You've been sitting on that number since Tuesday, haven't you?
A little bit, yeah. But we're starting somewhere smaller, somewhere with actual dirt in it.
Oh, is this the sheep thing again?
No sheep this time. Grass. But stay with me.
Grass. Okay, now I'm just confused, but go ahead.
Jack's Solar Garden out in Longmont, Colorado. 1.2 megawatt community solar project, and the arrays mounted 6 to 8 feet up instead of sitting low to the ground.
Right, so you can actually farm underneath it.
Exactly. And that's the part everybody expects going in. You lose some ground, you gain some power. It's a trade. Except the trade doesn't look like a trade anymore. In dry years, plant growth under that array came in about 20% higher than out in the open.
Wait, higher? Not held up okay, actually higher.
Higher. For cool season grasses specifically, in some spots they measured up to 90% more productive under the shade.
Okay, that's not a rounding error. That's a different result entirely. What's actually going on there?
Less evaporation, less heat stress on the plant, soil holds moisture longer between waterings. Colorado State and Cornell are both involved in the research. DOE and CEIA are watchlit too. And this is a real farm. Over 300 homes are getting power off that project right now. It's not a demo plot.
This is the part of the job I actually love. Everybody assumed agrivoltaics was a compromise. Turns out, in the right climate, it's just better farming.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been waiting for another one of these since Warren County. The sheep story lives rent-free.
You have never once let that go.
Grazing, growing, whatever's happening under the array, I want more of it. If you're a developer sitting on ag land and you haven't run the agrivoltaics numbers, this is your sign.
Especially in a dry state. Colorado's already sitting on close to 5,600 megawatts of installed solar, with thousands more projected over the next 5 years. If shade actually helps the crop instead of just tolerating it, that changes how you pitch the landowner.
It also changes the conversation with the landowner up front. Normally, you're asking a farming family to take it on faith that their yield won't suffer. Now you've got a real result to show them.
Right, because that's usually the hardest part of the pitch. Show me 20% more grass in a dry year, and I'll sign the lease myself.
Speaking of things that took a while to click, Della, guess which state showed up in the rundown again?
Please don't.
Illinois.
I warned you. I specifically warned you 2 weeks ago not to get used to this.
And yet?
Fine. What'd they do this time?
This one's Illinois Solar for All, the state's low-income solar equity program. It's been around almost 10 years, and for most of that time, it moved slow. Last fiscal year alone, almost 400 projects went online, over 700 building units total. That 1 year beat the program's first 5 years combined.
Combined. That's not incremental growth. That's the program finally finding a gear it didn't have before.
The Illinois Commerce Commission threw in an extra $20 million on top of the $50 million the state already puts in every year. And by the sounds of it, that money was gone almost as fast as it landed.
Here's the part that actually matters, though. The money's real, but the bigger shift is who's doing the signing up. They funded grassroots educators, real people in the community walking neighbors through the paperwork, close to $700,000 to 10 different community organizations last year alone.
Crisis Nursery down in Urbana is one of the groups that used it. Faith in Place, Garfield Park Community Council, EcoDio Chicago up in the Chicago area. Project used to cluster around Chicago. Now they're showing up in nearly every county in the state.
That's the actual unlock for LMI programs, honestly. You can design the best subsidy in the country, but if nobody in the neighborhood is walking people through enrollment, it just sits there.
That's a real lesson for anybody chasing an LMI carve-out in another state. You can win the subsidy fight in the legislature and still lose the program if nobody funds the outreach layer underneath it.
Basically, an argument for building the community relations line item into the budget from day one, instead of bolting it on 3 years late once the enrollment numbers already look bad.
And there's a clock running underneath all of it. Everybody in this program knows the federal tax credit is sunsetting, so there's real urgency behind getting projects qualified now instead of waiting.
Which is a little bittersweet, if I'm honest. The program's working because people are racing a deadline, not because everybody suddenly has more time to figure it out. But I'll take working for the right reasons over not working for no reason.
Illinois, man. I told you they'd be back.
You didn't tell me anything. I'm the one who called it. I just didn't expect it to be a subsidy program instead of another rooftop deal.
Okay, my turn. $2.2 billion.
You've been holding this the whole episode. Go ahead.
Solar Landscape just closed up to $150 million in new development financing from Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners through their Green Credit Fund. That's on top of a $600 million senior debt facility, $125 million revolver, and $117 million in preferred equity, all inside the last 3 years. Add it up, and it's over $2.2 billion raised.
For a rooftop and community solar developer, that's an enormous vote of confidence. What's the new money actually for?
About 250 megawatts of mid- and late-stage projects, rooftop community solar plus some commercial real estate solar and storage. It's meant to cover the unglamorous stuff: equipment orders, interconnection, offtake agreements, all the pre-construction work that has to happen before a shovel touches dirt.
That's the stretch of the timeline that kills projects, honestly. Everybody wants to fund construction. Almost nobody wants to fund the 18 months before it, where you're just paying to hold your spot in line.
Which is exactly why I think this deal matters more than the headline number. Capital that's willing to sit in pre-construction is capital that actually believes in the pipeline itself, well before there's a finished asset to point to.
There's also a structural detail worth flagging. This is described as a forward flow facility, meaning the capital keeps deploying as new projects clear diligence, rather than landing once as a single check.
Which is a meaningful distinction if you're trying to model your own capital stack. A revolving commitment behaves completely differently than a lump sum, especially when you're planning pipeline 12 or 18 months out.
Their CFO basically said as much. Something like, being able to raise and deploy capital across the whole development lifecycle is turning into the real competitive advantage in this market.
And CIP's partner called Solar Landscape's rooftop community solar projects exactly what the market needs right now. That's not a throwaway line from a financing partner.
I'll go ahead and call it. If this forward flow structure performs the way CIP is describing, expect more mid-sized developers pushing their own lenders towards something similar within the year.
Noted. I'll hold you to that one the next time a developer announces a facility that looks anything like this. Here's my one flag on all of this, and Solar Landscape isn't the problem. Think about everybody who isn't Solar Landscape. When capital gets this concentrated on platforms with a 3-year track record and $2 billion in receipts, that's great if you're already in that club. If you're a smaller developer trying to land your first institutional facility, this is the bar you're being measured against now.
That's fair. Scale is starting to be its own credential in this market. 3 years ago, $2 billion in project financing for a single distributed platform would have been the headline of the year. Now it's just Tuesday.
Which, by the way, is the whole reason our sponsor exists. Filling 250 megawatts of new capacity eventually means finding subscribers for every one of those projects, and that's the piece nobody in this financing story is solving yet.
That's your cue, isn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, we'll get there.
So let's keep score. A Colorado farm that turned agrivoltaics into an actual research result instead of a sales pitch. Illinois finally getting an LMI program to hit its stride after damn near a decade. And a developer crossing $2.2 billion because the capital markets believe the pipeline is real.
3 totally different parts of this industry, all pointing the same direction. That's a good week.
It really is. This is the kind of week that never makes headlines outside the industry, but moves the needle plenty inside it. That's the show for today. Before we go, today's episode comes to you courtesy of Our Power Co.
Their whole pitch fits in one sentence. You build the solar, we bring the community. They handle subscriber acquisition, filling out the capacity on projects like the ones we just talked about, and they'll work with you wherever in the country you're building.
Worth saying too, since we're a show that lives and dies by AI these days, we're picky about which AI tools we build this with. We use ones from companies that pay for their own energy and water use instead of pushing those costs onto somebody's local grid. On an energy show, not felt like table stakes, honestly.
And if you're listening as a homeowner or renter instead of a developer, this is a little bit the wrong show, but we'll still point you the right way. Go to joincommunity.solar to actually subscribe and knock something off your own bill.
Every fact, every figure, every dollar amount in this episode is sourced and linked in the show notes.
One more thing before we let you go. If you want the day-to-day between episodes, we put out a free daily rundown called the Solar Docket. It's over at communitysolar.news.
Find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen, and swing by communitysolar.news for the newsletter too. I'm Ray.
I'm Della, and that's the community in Community Solar.